What up, guys? Welcome to Base Damage, and this week on podcast number 49, I tried to get back Waifu Wars and Greg back on, but because of scheduling, I had to get these schmucks instead. Say hi to Joe Schmo.
I see how you feel.
And Timmy.
I am a schmuck, apparently.
No, you're not. Nah.
Thank you.
That was just
it's just Kyle. Cool. Just as we planned.
There we go. Just
boy with a B-O-I.
like how Light Yagami would say, all according to plan. So, yeah, no, seriously. Thank y'all guys for showing up. I know there was a whole bunch of scheduling conflicts with everybody else, and it's just kind of whatever. But thank y'all, and how y'all doing?
Doing okay.
And could be better.
Fair enough. So before we get into the big topic this week of the Banlist update for JP, which is mostly just kind of be giving like what cards got affected or what cards were put up there and kind of our opinions on it, which isn't going to be too terribly much. And I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there right now, but it was unimpressive to say the least. But going ahead and getting a couple announcements out of the way. Obviously, we're still doing our giveaway is this week. It ends this Thursday, which I'm basically going to do like the cutoff point is that Wednesday night, and I'll so that'll be looking at my calendar here. So the 6th is the like cutoff evening, and then I'll be tallying up all the votes and everything, and be putting out a video Thursday morning or noonish or something like that. Anyway,
It's actually a lot sooner than I thought.
Well, yeah, it's like already been 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. It's like it went by really quickly.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like a whole bunch of votes have come in. TOR is definitely in the in last place. But Kantai and SAO, yeah, I know, right? Cam really wanted me to play some TOR.
He just wants to win. It's all it is.
I know, but
I wanted you to play because I'm so used to you playing it.
I know, that's right. But that means whichever one I do end up having to play for it, y'all are going to see me play a whole bunch more at locals to practice for it. So,
Yay.
but like,
well, I mean, I was playing the new meta Sunday, so you know.
Anyway,
ignoring that.
So Kantai and SAO are about like neck and neck. I lost count, but they're about even. So that'll be interesting. So if it comes down to a tie, I may end up having to do a dice roll or something, or I don't know. We'll let Tim pick. So I don't know. Anywho, so the only other big update, I guess you could say. The TCG player store is going pretty well so far. A whole bunch of cards have been selling, and it's kind of been surprising. Well, it's half surprising. Like, obviously, a bunch of the Love Live stuff's been going. The, like, 2 Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards I decided to post up there sold within, like, less than a day of posting them.
Geez.
Knock, knock.
What?
I heard a... It sounded like Law and Order there.
I think that was Tim.
Oh, I didn't know what it was.
Did he get arrested?
I don't know. It literally sounded like the Law and Order sound effect for a second there.
Oh no, Special Victims Unit showed up.
Well, yeah, basically. So, I'm glad I'm not the only one that like basically grew up having to watch that because of grandparents. So,
Hey man, if a show's good, a show's good.
it wasn't bad, but I preferred NCIS later. So anyway, this is not a
Is that a discussion?
Since we're
podcast?
discussing it now.
yeah. No. So speaking of crimes against humanity, this bullshit ban list. Okay, fuck it. We're gonna get right into this. So I'm
We're
gonna
jumping in deep.
I
Got it.
know. The long and short of it is, none of the predictions that me, Bentley, and Greg put down came true. So, we had said, let's see, what our predictions were, if anything could be possibly, like, affected, Trancing Pulse Ren, the 3-2 Katori from Rewrite. I don't know if that's actually making a reference to Katori from Love Live, or if there's actually a Katori character in Rewrite. I actually have not watched, or not seen, I'm not familiar with Rewrite at all. So,
I feel you.
Shizuru, the Guardian, whatever that is. And then from rabbits, even though rabbits did get put on this ban list, none of our predictions actually came to fruition for it. Because initially it was stated as the early drop healer, the 00 1500 Coco, and the 00 Rize. So had some really nice effects off of those, but so those weren't actually the ones that got hit. So obviously Bushiroad was going to take some stuff off. I say Bushiroad, what am I saying? I think Konami ran this fucking ban list. And that's sadly putting it lightly because, okay, that's one of the issues I had with Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the way Konami ran. The ban list was kind of important for the game, sure. But every now and then, it just they seemed to hit stuff that just didn't seem to do anything at the time. They would go ahead and like ban cards for sets that weren't coming out 3 months from then. And
they did that preemptive banning.
Yeah, like there's no point in doing it that quick before it's even in the US. Like, it's kind of weird. And then there were other times where they would do a ban list that did absolutely nothing. Like,
Example A.
Example A, literally one of the most recent ones where they like limited like one or two things and that was it. Anyway, so the exact example we're going to do here, they took off a 00 Raku from the Nizikoi side of the ban list, which initially was a pick one of three. Make Marika Great Again is still is only at one. There was a Raku, the Free Fresh, and then any one color of one of the Promise Pendants. So you had to pick one of those three. And then if you pick the Promise Pendant, it could only be one of the colors or whatever. I believe I got that right. So they took the Raku off. So now it's just down to a pick one of two between the Free Fresh and the one of the Promise Pendants of your choice. So the Raku was a 0015 blue Global 500 to all your key characters. And when this is placed from hand to stage, you may pay the cost, which is discard a card.
Which is discarding a card.
Yeah. If so, choose a Pendant of Promise, which is the Promise Pendants, and your waiting room, one Promise Pendant in your waiting room, add it to your hand. So it was basically just a salvager for the Promise Pendants. So, yeah.
An on-call salvager, more or less.
Yeah, so, like, from what I have been told, with all the new stuff that's come out recently, aka, like me and Timmy were talking about earlier, Kimono Friends, all hail the Penguins.
Right.
Amongst other stuff, like, from what I have been told, Nizikoi still sees play, but not as much as before. Like, obviously people were still going to, run Nizikoi because it's, a pretty powerful set. But with all the restrictions that it had, especially on Marika and whatnot, it hurt a lot because that Marika was so strong. Oh, man. So the Raku being taken off is aight. So the actual things that got hit that put onto the ban list was off of Is the Order a Rabbit, which I'm actually watching through the anime at this point. It's really, really cute. I don't know who best.
I got a recommendation for it, so I'm gonna take a peek at it.
Yeah,
see what
I'm
I
just
like.
gonna go along and pretend like I know what's going on.
You do that, Kyle. You do that.
So, since I read off the Raku, would either of y'all want to read off the 3-2 Coco Chino?
I got it. Sure, why not?
Go for it, bro.
Alright, so Chino and Coco, good to have met. Level 3, 2 cost, 9k power. For each of your other Rabbit House characters, this card gains 500 power. When this card is placed on stage, from hand, draw 2 cards, discard a card from your hand to the waiting room, and pay 2 stock, discard 2 cards from your hand to the waiting room. When this card attacks, if Pillow Fight is in your climax zone, you may pay the cost. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent, and this card gains 6,000 power to the end of turn.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Pillow Fight's a 1k1.
It's a 1k1 salvage?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I was actually going to look that up, and that Thank you very much. So,
and for those who might
Yeah.
misunderstand, it has it up there twice as the deal 1 damage to your opponent twice because it does it in 2 separate intervals of damage.
yeah, when I initially looked at it, like, with all the errata bullshit that's been going on around, I was like, hold up, is this right? Heart of the Cards usually does really good on a lot of their translations for the most part. So I just messaged one of the other guys and in the podcast group, and they said, yeah, no, that's right. Is, to my understanding, the proper thing is it does 2 instances of burn 1 on swing. My reasoning behind that is, I guess it's because it's the 2 girls up there. You know, it's because it's Coco and Chino. So, yeah.
You do 1 burn and the other one does a burn.
And it's on attack. The other thing to this, sure, it's pay 2 stock and pitch 2 cards, but that's still pretty okay to me, considering she is going to be she's a 9. The climax makes it a 10. If your other field is full of Rabbit House characters, that's 12. And
Like,
then
she gets pretty beefy with the right setup.
18 before any other buffs. 18,000 before any other buffs. So, 1, that's going to kill shit. 2,
that can
yeah.
break a lot of things.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to do the math in my head right now. Like, even if you only drop 2 of those down, that's still 4 instances of burn for 1 on top of their damage of 3 each. So you end up discarding like 4 cards from hand, sure, but when you play them, the draw 2 and pitch 1 helps replace that, so you still don't end up using as much hand advantage. And plus that can dig for the climax. That's really good. So
Yeah.
you could go in with a full hand, drop most of your hand, and still have the entirety of the cost to pay for this effect. So it's just a matter of...
I'm not going to complain about it. Like, if my opponent's at, let's say, like 3-4 or like 3-5, I'm not going to complain about 2 cards coming out of my hand. Then I'm going to be like, cool. She's going to kill or her effect's going to kill. One of the 2 is going to kill.
Absolutely. Hell, if they're at 3-3 at that point, you got the 4 instances of burn 1 have the chance to kill right then and there.
Right.
That's like, damn. So, basically, I'm just trying to do the math here. So you're going to end up paying 4 stock off of that. If you're swinging with 2 characters, so you 1, 2, so 2, 1. You need to go in with like 3 or 4 stock into your climax phase, or into the battle phase. So it's still not too terribly bad. About 3-ish stock, and you can.
I mean, yeah, 3 because you can.
Wait, no, you can go
swing with
2.
the first one.
Go in with 2. Swing with a separate character. You have 3. Pay the cost.
Yeah, you can.
You're down to 1. One of the 3 2s gives you an additional stock, so you have 2. So yeah, no, you can go into the battle phase with 2. I'm sorry, I had to do the math on that. So if you drop down like a costless or whatever, and then the 2 3/2s, you can go in with 2 stock and then get off a lot of damage. So
yeah, but I will say though, it would be pretty hard to do both of the effects, considering that's assuming you played them. And then you have the 4 cards to pitch. That's 6 cards just gone. But hopefully you win that turn.
Hopefully. I mean, like, I'm going to assume that if anyone's going for that much, like, cost at that point, it's probably...
Like, they were going to lose next turn anyway if they didn't get this. So.
Exactly. So, I should have mentioned before this, it's a pick 1 of 2 for these Rabbits cards. It's you either pick... You can run 4 copies of either this 3/2 Coco, or... 4 copies, or you can run up to 4 copies of the 1/0 Coco counter, or which is the backup. And Kyle, you want to get that one because you're actually familiar with this effect.
Yes, I am. Okay, so you said the name right. Sorry, I was replying to the text.
Coco
Anyway,
going
in case
together.
he didn't, Coco going together. Okay, it is a level 1 0 cost. It's a backup. Let's go over her skill. First skill is an auto effect. It's pay 1, put a character from your stage into the waiting room. When you use this backup, you may pay the cost. If so, choose one of your opponent's characters whose level is higher than your opponent's level. and put it into the waiting room, and your opponent chooses up to one level 0 or lower character in his or her waiting room and put it in the slot that the character was in. It's the Nico, in case people were wondering. Anyway, and the second effect is the counter, which is just a 1,000 backup, and it's the discarded card from hand.
Yeah, I'll end up putting a picture up of that as well. But there's a Nico anti-change that we do have in English, as far as like being familiar with, that this is essentially like almost the exact same effect. The big difference to this, though, is the cost. And in Weiss, you can always pay cost. So the cost for this, where the Nico is simply pay to stock, hers is pay 1 and send a character from your stage to the waiting room. So that's one stock cheaper, but I actually find a lot of use in the pitching a character by that cost, because you can always pay that cost even if you can't target one of your opponent's characters for the anti-change. So
Right.
anything that does clock shoe, anything that has to do an on-reverse ability, this stops that for one stock. So, okay, well, I know you're going to get over my character anyway, especially because the 1,000 backup is probably not going to help. Like, I know I've seen some stuff come down to, like, that much, but even if the 1,000 backup would make them end up tying, they would still get an on-reverse effect. So, restanders, clock shooters, etc., more than likely they're going to be over, and the 1,000 isn't really going to worry that much. But the being able to sack that character that's currently being attacked for that on-reverse effect to stop that on-reverse effect is what makes it better than the Nico. Like, straight up. It's the same.
Yeah, like, no doubt.
Yeah. It's the same thing where your opponent can still bring back a level 0 or lower character, which is what the Nico's able to do as well. So, yeah. But also because it can be done at level 1, think of all the other, like, on-reverse combos that go off at level 1 from, if anybody still runs it, Shimikaze, the 1-0 Mikon. I know I'm mostly comparing English sets, but then go to Japanese sets, like the ReZero Amelia, I think has to be on reverse. I cannot remember. I'm probably completely wrong on that, and I apologize. But there's other on reverse effects for advantage engines like that, and that stops that. So that's really cool. But basically, you can only pick one or the other. Which, as soon as this got announced, I would look on the different Facebook pages, and people were like, "I'm just gonna choose the finisher."
Right.
So, I mean, admittedly, I don't know a whole bunch of the other like Rabbit's finishers at this point. It's probably one of the better ones,
I mean, if they're choosing that over an anti-change, then I'm assuming this is just one of the better ones out there.
Yeah.
Not to say the rest of them are bad, but
yeah,
this is probably like just blatantly better than the rest of them.
Yeah. Fun fact: these are both from the extra booster. So I had to look, because when I first looked through I was looking up by the code. I went to the original booster pack first, and I'm looking to go through. This isn't it. What the fuck am I doing wrong? And I had to scroll down further to the extra boosters, and I'm like, I bet it's in here. So.
Oh, hey, look, exactly where I knew it would be.
I knew this the whole time. So, this is gonna probably delve into a little more of the issues of Banlist, and for this, I'm actually gonna bring in your expertise, Timmy.
Hi.
With a different card game, but
Okay.
still kind of similar, to a degree. Force of Will.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Okay,
hi.
so how familiar are you with the quote-unquote ban list that they do for Force of Will? I know they mostly do the set rotations.
It's quite awkward how they do theirs, because it was an well, they kind of do it emergency. They're like the embodiment of emergency ban list. Let's say that, because like I'm not counting set rotation, mind you, but simply after a certain time, if a card is seen too much, they'll just get rid of it, and I mean like get rid of it permanently. Like a good example of that would be like Reflector Frame. That ruler was every deck. That was the only deck you saw.
Yeah.
Reflector Frame was a better ruler than half of the other rulers that were supposed to be used for their decks.
Yeah, from
Like,
what I was
to
told,
give a
like, it was usually side
Good
decks.
example of that. Like Prisha, you're familiar with Prisha.
Oh yeah.
And Force Sacred Beast, that was her deck. Reflector Frame did it better, it made it meta. Prisha couldn't even get the 3 mono before Reflector Frame killed it.
Yeah. It was crazy.
And then every deck had Reflector Frame as a ruler. There was just no there was no reason why. And then not to mention all the other broken cards that were just mistakes, like Levitine giving your ruler swiftness. Reflector Frame used it. It couldn't even attack you, but it still used it better than any other ruler that can actually attack with swiftness.
Which is pretty fucking funny.
And then not to mention, it also had the better Regalia. The Regalia that lets it restand, so you can tap and use its effects again, and use the effects and gain counters, and gain your mana, and
again.
Yeah, and you open with 4 of those, the Reflective Fairy kind of just smiles at you like, hey, we're still playing this game, right? You're having fun, right? And I'm like, mm-mm.
Now,
I already packed up and left.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, the game's been over for 30 minutes, dude. So the biggest difference between this is obviously the 2 game states, which are cards that can be used in any deck versus the different booster sets and the different series that they are in. But regardless of how the games are set up, if you look at it of what's being played the most, still, even if it's like the most sets being played, from what I was told, like, there was other stuff that really could have been affected by it, or other stuff that could have been touched. But much like Konami, Bushiroad apparently just kind of whatever. I don't know if they're just wanting to see what's going to happen before they try to. I also need to check them and see how often they do the next ban list, or how often.
Yeah,
they
I was
do
gonna actually ask you, do they? Because I'm unfamiliar with like their Japanese ban list. Did they do one every such and such like Yugi does?
I think the last one was back in February. So if it might be every 6 months. Because this was at the end of This was at the end of August when it came out. Because this is September now. When we're recording this.
Yeah, fourth wall. We're in September.
Fourth wall. For
even though it's not really, because they're also going to be watching this in September, but still.
More than likely, if you're from the future, we apologize.
We welcome you.
We welcome you. Please subscribe. But so they do theirs every X number of months. Konami just seems to put it out when they fucking feel like it.
I remember they were really good about doing it like every 4 months, every 3 months, something like that.
They used to guarantee every 6 months. They said they were going to try to aim for every 4 months instead, and that completely and totally failed. We ended up not getting a ban list for almost 10 months. So the issue with that, though, is when it was every 6 months, it was done by Upper Deck Entertainment, which was a different alternate group it's like how ARG runs their own circuit.
Yeah.
Konami just let Upper Deck run the circuits for the tournaments and shit, and with fucking Shonen Jump, the Shonen Jump tournaments and all.
Oh.
So they partnered with them. So when it came time that they had the issue with Upper Deck, with bullshit going on, and they kind of said, we're going to take over the tournaments from now on.
Oh yeah, that's when prizes became garbage, right?
Yeah, exactly. Konami's looking at it.
That's
going,
when you couldn't win your Xbox 360 there anymore. No, you had to go and win mats that you don't give a crap about.
Yeah, and
if you lost, you still got to play mat that you didn't give a crap about.
Exactly. Like,
meanwhile, first place is over here. Like, I got like 10 packs. I don't want packs. I already got the best deck in the game.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Bushiroad is giving, admittedly, Bushiroad is giving like first place to wins these regionals trips to be able to go to Japan.
Yeah, at least that's one thing I do like about them, is that they're definitely upping up their like game, their first place game.
Personally, I wish there was a +1.
Because like even for Vanguard, back in Vanguard when we did it, we had to go to Cali at Nationals at first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from Cali, if you won that, then you go straight to JP.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there, Kyle. What were you saying?
Oh no, I was making a selfish remark saying I wish they would make you take a +1.
Make you take a +1.
Yeah.
He's saying he wants to go.
Oh, I was like,
Good, Billy. Say your inner thoughts. Oh, Kyle, you weren't the plus one.
Click.
No. I've made him hang up Skype calls quicker. I can assure you. I could say a simple 3-word phrase, and he would instantly just be like, "Shut the fuck up," and just click off. But I won't do that. I might do that at the end of this just to see. But okay. So going into the same company then, for Vanguard, does Vanguard have any sort of ban list? Any sort of?
I don't know about now,
You know
but
about now?
they did for a lot, and it's the same. It's honestly the same as how I described before. So it's kind of like emergency bans in a sense, and we had them for English, or we only had like half of the Japanese list for English too. Like we came into the game knowing that after a couple months, Barkle, which was like the only Royal Paladin starter at the time that actually did something, it got banned, and it wasn't banned like you just couldn't use it anymore. It was you couldn't use it as your starting Vanguard. You could have 4 copies in the deck, it doesn't matter, but you just cannot use it as your starting Vanguard. Which kind of nerfed Royal Paladin to the ground at the time, because that was their good starting Vanguard. They had to use a vanilla one for the most part.
That's kind of weird, though.
But the card was really good, so I don't blame them.
Okay.
It let you get really far ahead. Like you sacrificed a little bit of advantage, but you were like leagues ahead of your opponent by that time.
Yeah. Okay,
and then
so
you just get to, and also it lets you kind of manipulate your hand a little bit because you can just get more shield because you didn't need to have a level or a grade 2 in your hand because you could search that grade 2 with Barkle.
Yep.
okay.
And you can get the grade 2 that you want on the Vanguard, and that grade 2 on enters retire something on their field, which is similar to sending it to the waiting room for Weiss.
Okay.
So it actually did a lot on enter, and it was quite the combo.
All right. So
And back then, even though like now that means nothing, that's a crap combo, but back then it was an amazing combo.
I can understand. It's like how back in the day for Yu-Gi-Oh we had Gladiator Beast and whatnot, and now people look at that and go, "What the fuck? That's slow as shit."
Yeah, like it's comparing it to like back then, back in the old days when we're just wee lads, we saw Marauding Captain. Marauding Captain into another like level 3. You're like, holy crap, that's so cool. No.
Not anymore.
Nowadays, Marauding Captain's like,
Back in my day.
He's an old man just sitting in the guild, drinking some beer and thinking about life.
Yeah. So, in terms of how that is still done, where you say like they do emergency ban lists, is still off of stuff that is played a whole bunch. So, that's kind of the point that I was trying to lead up to that, depending on how you said they worded it for that, is the fact of still within the same company. It's still within Bushiroad. They would look at something that they're looking at Vanguard, or I'm guessing they would still do the same for Buddy Fight.
And also, like, no, Buddy Fight had no ban list.
Buddy Fight has no ban list, like English or JP?
Nope, I will say for a fact that, honestly, Buddy Fight has been their cleanest game. Like, no ban list, no... Like, to the point where we even got a sideboard. We requested a sideboard, and after a while, they're like, yeah, we'll give you guys a sideboard. We got a sideboard.
That's weird. Didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah, and Buddy Fight was honestly one of their cleanest games, I will say. Because it's like, I mean, there is a little luck. There's always luck in card games, but it's not luck-based, like how Card Fight and Weiss is, more or less. It's more of just like my opening hand had such and such monsters, I'm going to play those monsters, and you're going to play your monsters, and whenever it gets time to finish the game, impact it, and then you impact it and then you win. But
so you're saying you
still
had your
going
surefire victory stuff?
Oh,
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
But going back to the ban list things, I just thought of another good one.
Okay.
From Card Fight very recently, and this is like a Bushiroad special. They mess up a card so much that it has to get banned. I forgot how the combo works, but for both Gear Chronicle and Grand Blue Clans, there ended up being an infinite combo.
Oh.
And it was a really easy combo to do for Grand Blue, because Grand Blue is based off of sending things into your drop zone, or, well, graveyard, waiting room, whatever you want to call it. So that was like their gimmick, was calling things from the graveyard / drop zone. There's one card that says anytime it goes to grave, you can mill 3 and basically get it back. And so
Okay.
you do that, and then there's one level 2 that's like, hey, anytime something's called from the graveyard, I get plus 2,000 power. And I forgot how exactly the combo works out, because there's another card that I can't remember. But it lets you loop that over and over and over and over. And then this thing just gets really big. It gets really big to the point where they can't block it.
It's the fact of there was an infinite loop and it needs to get hit.
Yeah,
So
and
that type
then
thing. Okay.
they take it out. And then for Gear Chronicle, it was the same thing. There was just an infinite attacking loop where
Okay.
you attack with one thing, it switches itself out with something else in the deck, and then that card says when it gets played from deck, you switch something else with something else. So you keep switching in the one card that keeps letting you reset the field.
Uh-huh.
And there wasn't a once per turn on it, so you kept doing it.
Funky.
Except for you can only do it up to 5 times because it actually costs resources to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, your
If
opponent's
that
at
could win
5
you the-
damage.
Yeah. If that could win you the
They
game,
can't-
it's like,
Yeah, they can't really block 15 attacks, you know.
okay, so it still comes down to the fact of they see that there's an issue with certain things running rampant, and they just really decided not to do much about it. I'm not gonna try to fault
Like I will say,
too terribly
good
much.
on them.
Yeah.
I will say good on them for actually like taking initiative and just saying, "Hey, we're gonna get rid of this now." But
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that should have been play tested, and it should have been like resolved before release.
Fair enough.
Which I can understand their mindset because they're like, who would use these older cards? Because a lot of these broken infinite combos rely on like an old card that either A, never saw the light of day back then, or B, just we wouldn't think of running it.
Yeah.
But then there's always that one person who studies the clan or studies the world or whatever deck he's playing to the point of he knows every card in that general area. So he thinks of that older card, and then he plays that older card, and then it tops. And then, of course, you know, featured matches for Bushiroad are always on stream, so everyone sees this cool infinite combo, and they're like, oh, well, now everyone's got to play it, and then everyone plays it, and then...
It's like the same. It's kind of how Yu-Gi-Oh as well. I mean, we're bouncing between card games here and whatnot, I realize, but it's relevant because that's a lot of the same stuff that's happened with recently with like how the Link monsters and whatnot have come out with Yu-Gi-Oh, because they tried to say this will help slow down the game tremendously. Yet the second that Link monsters are announced and how their effects work and how certain Link monsters
It can
are
also
broken,
stop your opponent from playing.
exactly, if you decide to go that route, which it's not difficult, they had to go back and errata cards and errata card text that made it completely unfair and made the Link monsters more broken than they should have been. I won't go too terribly much into detail of it just because, but their R&D was the research and development section of the company was very lacking in how, as far as getting combos off, because people were like, oh, for these Link monsters, can we use tokens? And Konami was like, yeah, sure, you can use tokens. And by then they already fucked up. So, yeah, it just crazy shenanigans, and now they're having to go back and specifically state on Link monsters that you can't use, or like the new ones, you can't use tokens and whatnot. But, like, within a week of certain Link monsters being announced, there were people already putting up videos of, this is how you break the game, and I win. And just fucking, what was his name?
Yeah.
I was going to say Patrick Hoban, but I don't think it's Patrick Hoban. Somebody else. Anyway, so...
Nah, he was the Mermaids guy.
He was the upstart goblin guy.
Not Mermaids, the ritual things that I can't remember its name at the moment.
Necros.
Necros, that's it. Necros.
Yeah, no,
The Jin.
the
Genlock.
Genlock.
The Genlock. Yeah.
Hey,
Dude,
Tim.
I'll totally side out my Jin.
Yeah.
Sides in the same Jin.
No, he ran one main deck and one side deck.
He ran one main, one deck, so he just switched it out.
Mm-hmm. Whereas most people only put in one in the main and didn't bother siding it.
Yeah.
So, BS like that. But that's not actually going into the whole issue with Banlist, but basically from what I was noticed, people were like, this ban list was very, very meh. It did for Weiss Schwarz.
Yeah,
It did
honestly,
for JP.
this
It did
doesn't
nothing.
seem like a Bushi ban list because, as I said before, usually the emergency ban actually hits something.
Yeah.
Since they usually hit something that's like in the way.
Yeah, like
This seems like a very like rune, you know.
Yeah, like
Bushiroad like move.
Yeah, like on the last one where they actually hit stuff like saying Kantai that could let you do a profuse amount of searching off of Z3 and Clumsy Girl Inadumo, letting you do a whole bunch of searching like for very, very cheap. They're like, okay, these are problem cards. Hit these. Okay, slows down the consistency of the deck. You get to choose between a finisher or an anti-change. What are people going to choose? I don't even know all of how rabbits are set up, but if you presented that to me, I would probably pick the finisher. Depending on what the other finishers are, I probably would still pick up pick that finisher over the anti-change. It just really depends, what I decide to play, sure. But, fuck, people ended up putting up like a goddamn poll, like a voting poll on one of the Facebook pages of, hey, which would you play? And just the fucking finisher won out, like, hands down.
Right.
Like 9 votes to 1.
I feel like that would work in just about every scenario, though. I mean, if you had the option of the anti-change or the finisher, and there's not too many other finishers that you can run in that deck. I mean, you got to choose a finisher.
Yeah.
Like great example, Kyle.
I'm listening. You called my name.
There you are. Hi. How you doing? You've been pretty silent this entire time.
Sorry, bro.
If you had to choose between Great Idol Otaku Nico or the Nico Anti-Change, what would you choose?
Great Idol is the clock shooter?
Yeah, Great Idol is the level 3 clock shooter that you can either your opponent can suicide and you can clock shoot it, or if you reverse it, you can clock shoot it. Now, see, when it comes to that, it depends on how I want to do this situation. Overall, I would keep the level 3, but if I was to go in a tournament and decide beforehand, and I see like a bunch of like Can Cole or...
Well, no, this is just without seeing anything.
Without anything?
As far as like you're gonna... Yeah.
You're building your deck on your desk from scratch, and you have to choose between the two because ban list.
Well, level 3 would stay.
Okay. There we go.
Even... I don't remember what the cost is for that Nico, but even if it was like the We Are a Single Light Nico, which was clock shoot climax combo,
I would still choose Great Idol Otaku. We've talked about this because
I'm saying if that was the finisher over the anti-change, because basically we're still trying to put the point out there of the end game is what you focus on, and yeah.
I can't remember. Is the climax for her gold bar?
Yeah.
Okay, then you have a better chance of hitting that off then, because I was about to say, with that single light, you really can't bank on having that climax. But since it's a gold bar, I was just getting to that.
Sorry.
I was about to say, then I remembered it's a gold bar, so you can bank on it because it's going to flood to your hand no matter what, pretty much.
You're not wrong.
If it wasn't a gold bar, I would choose the backup over that because you can't rely on... Because that means you would have to short yourself, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to keep that climax with the card, with the whole game, or whenever it comes up, you would have to keep it and like kind of suffer, knowing that you're going to reshuffle like -1 minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I view it.
Yeah, which I didn't mean to cut you off earlier when you were explaining your situation, but I was like, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to know if people are going to be running a change card,
Well,
or like an early play.
Just, scout the, other people out, just
Well, you're not going to be
casually.
able to scout other people out, is what I'm saying.
Like, I know one of the specific things you're like, well, if they're running Kantai, like, English Kantai does not... I have no early plays. I have no early plays in my deck. Like, mine specifically, I'm guessing you're going to use by example. Even to the point that, English is kind of weird on the anti-change right now. There's still a lot of ones that do come out, sure. But by comparison, I don't know what all in JP has that, they'd have to worry about with anti-change. The cost of the Coco anti-change of being able to sack something is great, though. Like, if you absolutely have to, that's actually really nice by comparison. So, I don't know, maybe it's more of a utility thing.
Like, honestly, because I know, we've gotten really accustomed to our locals since we're so small. It's kind of just the same little group of homies every now and again.
Yeah.
Like, of course, I'll walk in blindly and just have, like, 1 or 2 anti-changes in my deck because I know what everyone has a chance of playing at this point. I've seen everyone's deck.
Mm-hmm.
I played against y'all so many times. I'm like, I know 3 of the 4 of your decks has change cards in it. I'm gonna run 1 anti-change.
There you go.
But like, if I'm going blind at like a regional or something, I'm gonna be mad as I don't know what if I decided I'm gonna take anti-change, face nothing with changes or early plays, mind you,
Mm-hmm.
and then look stupid when I'm like, I need a clock shoot or something, and realize it's not in the deck.
Exactly. It took me a second to realize the point you were trying to make there, and I'm like, oh, I know what he's going for now. Okay.
Yeah, like I would feel
Completely
really
fair.
dumb, but I'm like, yeah, I need something that does like massive damage. Or like, I really want my last shot Xenon. I really want something like that. And like, oh, it's not in the deck. It's gone. I had to take it out for Tiffany.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, so yeah, no, that's the degree here of, do you pick last shot Xenon or do you pick Tiffany? What? So, yeah, no, it's...
Yeah, like I can only imagine these people going in blind with like, the Coco going together and then just like never facing anything that they can use it on.
Yeah. Like, once again, I don't know the JP meta as well as
I know. I mean, trust
the
me,
other
I
guys.
don't. I know
Yeah.
the situation happens.
Yeah, but...
I know it does.
Yeah, like if this is what was offered to me, I personally also would choose the finisher. It seems like a no-brainer at that point. So, that's kind of the point that it comes down to, is just... Obviously, you're going to pick that because if I can kill you with this, I'm going to kill you with this. So,
And then also, I mean, like, keep in mind though, if you have other cards that can do it better or just can do it little less, then yeah, by all means, take that and just run the alternative card.
yeah. It's like, I guess at this point we kind of need to try to start going over rabbits. Or at this point, there's other sets that I want to end up going over that I personally have not
Enjoy.
messed with. Yeah,
Right.
like I've seen a couple people when we would go to Game Theory in Raleigh, and they would do mixed up there for
Yeah.
a lot
Shout
of
out to
their
Game Theory.
yeah, shoutouts. Shoutouts to Ian up there was like showing me how some of the rabbit combos worked off of that, and it was actually really cool. That deck was just amazingly consistent, at least how I saw him run it. I don't know, maybe he was just getting lucky on it, but it was really cool. So it's probably a set that I'm gonna end up going over and maybe do like a little mini set discussion on it or something. I don't know. I've got a lot to cover on it though, so that might be a different thing. For anyone listening, if y'all want to put y'all's 2 cent worth, which I'm certain y'all will, in the comment section,
Please do.
Please let us know what y'all think about this ban list update, or what y'all think could have been changed to help the Japanese meta even more instead of this. So, outside of that, any other closing thoughts with y'all? Or any other announcements?
I think I've spouted enough, honestly.
Hey, Kyle, how many views is your dream video up to now?
Give me 1 second. I can check for you.
I swear that's gonna be the rest of the year. It's just, hey, where's that dream video?
It's the new meme, dude, with the group. So
there's that. Let's see here.
by the way, it is really hard finding, like, if I do not specifically try to go through my channel or my subscription list.
51.
51? Oh wow, we need to get more on that. That's link in the description.
Mm.
And while you're there, just go ahead and subscribe. It helps out.
You can. You don't have to, but yeah. But help. It would help.
It would.
Okay, but it seems for the most part that's basically the general consensus here is, shit could have been done differently. So, with that,
Yeah, then especially with just 3 cards changing.
Yeah, it just
The ban
doesn't,
list, but it must be really solid for the most part.
apparently, considering the last one was 6 different cards.
Yeah, see, that sounds more.
7 if you count the Akagi Kai.
But
So, 'Cause
Right.
They took off the Akagi Kai and they added 6 new cards to the list. It's like, okay. So.
Right. So I feel like 3 is a little light, but.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how often they do this. For all I know, tomorrow they might be like, all right, cool, here's another update.
Yeah. You never know. So. But okay.
I'll take over from here, Billy. I'll give the outro. All right.
You want to do
everyone?
the outro?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna take over. I'm cutting in. I'm gonna stop you right there. You can continue afterwards.
Okay,
but
Kanye
let
West.
me finish. Everyone, just remember we have a giveaway going on. We really want to give out free stuff, so you all have to vote. Apparently, To Love Rue needs votes, so if you want to go help them, you can do what you do. But remember, you can choose between Kantai, Sword Art, and To Love Rue. Check out the last couple videos we have done. There's a Rogue deck review that we did with Doki Doki Sunshine. We do need more, so if you guys have decks you guys want us to look at, which a bunch of you guys on Reddit were saying that you liked Sunshine. So if you want us to give us more builds, we are more than welcome to go and review, aka Billy is.
Exactly.
So check out Joe Schmo's channel, my channel. Do what you want on there. Go like, comment, do whatever. Follow the gaming one. And I think that's it. So thank you all for coming by and listening, and we will see you all next time.
That outro was trifling.
Peace.